Joseph Campbell said, "We cannot cure the world of sorrows, but we can choose to live in joy." During this darkest season of the year, when the light is low and the holiday season is in full swing, some are still feeling alone, depressed, or struggling. And others are overwhelmed, filled with sorrow, or fatigued from the ongoing pandemic, from loss and stress. Patience among a lot of us is running low. Fear is widespread. Fear of losing our health and well-being. Fear of our beautiful planet succumbing to ever more extreme climate events. And fear of one another as we become increasingly divided, antagonistic, and violent. And unfortunately, our fears are not just imaginary. We see so much fear if we follow the news and hear what's happening all around the world. But, my friends, there is a medicine, a secret remedy that people don't talk about much. A medicine that your doctor won't prescribe. It doesn't appear in the news or in adverts. And though this medicine doesn't cure the world's ills, it does counterbalance adversity. And it brings a sweetness or a sparkle to life. It comes in bursts and quivers, and it flows and flies in and around us, and it's free. It's free to all. Can you imagine? But it's easy to miss. It can actually be hidden in the mundane and the ordinary. And if we go looking for it, we might find it sparkling like a diamond in a haystack. What if recognizing diamonds was enough to make them yours and you saw them now everywhere, asked writer Ingrid Goff Madoff. On the sunlit ocean, in the moonless sky, on winter fields, in the tips of branches after the rain, in smiling faces, the brook, the lake, the stream, the kitchen stove, stairs, puddles, ice clouds, anywhere life glimmers and light glints, kisses, belly laughs, bubbly, wine, decay and crumbs, flights of fancy, feathers, teeth, words, breath, diamonds, diamonds, all diamonds. Would you see then, in truth, the very richness that you are, she writes. Don't worry, he doesn't have COVID. We have established that. Sorry, Ben. Goff Madoff reminds us this remedy is anywhere life glimmers and light glints. It appears in twinkling holiday lights and pet licks. It comes as unexpected explosions of the heart, as tingles of aliveness, as laughter in song and delight. It can be found hidden even in the darkest corners of life, if only we look for it. If only we open ourselves to see its scintillating presence and experience its healing balm. And what is that, my friends? It is joy. Joy sparkles like diamonds everywhere. Joy is hidden throughout Mary Oliver's poems as well. And many jokingly say that her writings are Unitarian Universalist scripture. So I had to share her poem, Mindful, with you. And of course, being a joyful community, one of our members is sharing a cough drop with the person who's coughing. We take care of each other. Thank you, Nancy. So here's Mary Oliver's poem, Mindful. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight, that leaves me like a needle in the haystack of light. It was what I was born for, to look, to listen, to lose myself inside this soft world, to instruct myself over and over in joy and acclamation. Nor am I talking about the exceptional, the fearful, the dreadful, the very extravagant, but of the ordinary, the common, the very drab, the daily presentations. Oh, good scholar, I say to myself, how can you help but grow wise with such teachings as these? The untrimmable light of the world, the oceans shine, and the prayers that are made out of grass. Oliver invites us to look in the ordinary, to become mindful that tucked away in our everyday are exquisite flickers of joy and delight. But so often we're oriented towards pain and difficulty, aren't we? And that's natural because that's how we learn to survive. But my friends, as we know, what we focus on grows. And if we only turn our attention to the difficult, we may miss Mary Oliver's untrimmable light of the world. So I gave myself an assignment this month of opening to joy each day so that I could practice what this looks like and look for what brings joy, of seeking that hidden remedy. And I have to say, I felt happier and more contented than I have in a long time. Now, not that I'm turning my back on all the hardships of life and all the work that needs to be done. Not at all. But I've purposely gone looking for that which brings laughter and light, that which soothes the weary spirit, that which amazes and cajoles, to balance the seesaw of life. And I found that it's everywhere. It's hidden in every day as long as we remember to look for it. But how do we remember to look for joy during these difficult times? I personally learned from people who've gone through a lot of suffering, who nevertheless seem to be able to find huge reserves of joy. Look at the incredible music, songs, and dances that are part of African American culture that celebrate life with such gusto and depth. We're going to sing one such song together at the end of the service that reminds us that the world cannot take away our joy. Look at the melodious and rhythmic music to come out of Jewish culture. And look at the humor that's born out of darkest times. Opening to joy has been a way of coping, of counterbalancing the painful struggle that many oppressed populations have dealt with for centuries. Opening to joy may be the medicine for our troubled times. Opening to joy gives us the strength and courage to carry on. It's like a vitamin B infusion for our spirits. And my friends, joy is also our birthright. You can see it in babies' smiles and in their giggles, in gurgling and delight. It's natural for us to feel joy, but as we get older, the weight of life can squash our ability to feel joy. The responsibilities and trials of life can drain our energy, and we cease seeking those diamonds. In fact, we may stop remembering that they're there. Joy can seem elusive and hard to pin down, and it can be muted by grief, by illness, by loss, and pain. Yet the poet William Blake reminds us, joy and woe are woven fine, a clothing for the soul divine. Under every grief and pine runs a joy with silken twine. It is right, it should be so. We were made for joy and woe. And when this we rightly know, through the world we safely go. So what if our ticket to joy, to a joyful life, is to allow ourselves to feel both joy and woe? To not suppress either our grief or our joy, but to feel them both deeply. Both joy and woe open our hearts to what it means to be human and taste life fully. And Blake assures us that together these make a clothing for the soul divine. If you're looking for a sure source of joy, I invite you to look to poetry. Joy is sprinkled throughout poetry. It's the poet's gift to find enchantment in the ordinary, and those poets here among you know that. To remake familiar words into silken twine. Look also to music as it sweeps us away in transcendent rhythms and harmonies. Look to art as its colors and textures absorb us. Joy is in us, ready to hitch a ride on the next poem or dance or song or sunset or piece of art that we come across. But it's also around us in every moment if we just remember to look. My friends, imagine if you woke up today to find that this is your last day on earth. I know it's a slightly morbid thought, but just go with me here. How would you want to live this day? What would strike you with delight? What would you want to remember? I know that I'd get up with the sunrise to watch the pink hues in the clouds as the sun gradually inches its way above the horizon. And I'd listen to each sound, each bird calling in the day like it was the finest music. And each breath would be a conscious inhale, breathing in the rarefied air of life. And I'd kiss the ground with gratitude for holding and nourishing me. I would embrace each tree with appreciation for its strength, resilience, and dignity. And I tell those in my life I love them. And that includes all of you. And I'd be sure to hug a lot. And I would dance and move my body, feeling the miracle of incarnation. And I'd listen to sublime music, all my favorite pieces in the world, and I would laugh and I would cry with delight while singing at the top of my lungs. And I would savor every morsel of food and treat my taste buds to a smorgasbord of flavors. And I'd cuddle and play with my dog as much as possible. And I'd call friends and family and thank them for their part in my life. And when the day comes to an end, I would linger, watching the spectacular sun that warms our planet every day disappear gradually beyond the horizon until there were no more magenta traces in the sky and the crickets had stopped singing. And then I'd snuggle up in front of a roaring fire with my beloveds and give thanks. What would you do with one day left to live? Because whatever you would do, my friends, is your roadmap to joy. I recently heard about a man nicknamed Slow-Mo who lives in Venice Beach. And Slow-Mo, whose real name is Dr. John Kitchen, was a successful doctor making good money so that he could afford the large house and the latest cars. I think he even had an Aston Martin and all the fine things in life. He climbed the ladder of success, he got married and had a child, and had achieved all that society told him should make him happy. But he wasn't happy. He was constantly tired and stressed. His marriage collapsed. And though he was surrounded by all the trappings of material wealth, he felt empty inside. Until one day he met a 93-year-old man in a cafeteria line who told him that the secret of life was Do what you want to. And so Dr. John went rollerblading along the boardwalk of Venice Beach. And as he skated, he felt the wind on his face, and he began to feel a sense of freedom and delight that no material wealth or success had brought him. And so he quit his job. He sold most of his belongings. He moved into a tiny studio apartment near Venice Beach and began to skate every day, sometimes for 12 hours straight. And as he skates, he raises one leg behind him and stretches his arms out so that he's almost flying like a superhero through the air. And that position and the continuous motion apparently stimulate the vestibular system to create a sense of peace and joy. Slow-mo has found his ticket to joy and says that he wants to get to the end of his life without ever being a jerk to anyone again. He's renowned in Venice Beach as a magical man who beams from ear to ear every day, someone who's apparently found the secret to a joyful life. But what if you can't quit your job and roller skate every day? What are some other ways of opening to joy? As I reflected on this month, I uncovered what I think are 6 pathways to joy, on-ramps or practices that can help you get in contact with joy most quickly. And I'm going to share these with you. The first one is embodiment. We're each incarnated into a body. Feel your aliveness in your body. No matter the degree of your mobility or whether you're dealing with pain, illness, or discomfort, if you are here on this earth, which is all of us right now, you are embodied. And it's a great gift to be embodied. I invite you to notice the wonder of having a body that allows us to feel and taste and smell and touch and see and hear what is around us. A body that carries our spirits around for this very short time we have on earth. From the moment that we're born to the moment we die, we have physical form on this planet, and we can tangibly explore and express ourselves. And whether we explore our embodiment through exercise, like Phoebe mentioned earlier, or yoga or dancing, like Torkel loves to do with us here, or movement of any kind, or eating, or jumping from airplanes, or hang gliding, or massage, or making love, we can find joy in this embodiment. So I invite you to look for the joy, the aliveness in your physical incarnation. What are some of the joy-giving things you like to do in your physical form? The second on-ramp to joy is found in presence. Anything that can bring you into the present moment, awareness of the gift of this life, the here and now. Whether it's through conscious breathing, meditation, mindfulness practices, through journaling, creating art, or a gratitude practice. Whatever requires your focus and attention to the now. That feeling of flow when there's no past and no future. There's only right now. Right now, here we are together, my friends. It's probably why Slow-mo feels such joy as he's completely present while he skates on one leg. So how do you most easily experience the present moment? The next pathway is through creativity. Expressing yourself through words or art or movement, your voice or music, your hands kneading clay or knitting or however you best express yourself. Creative expression can take you straight to joy, as can relishing the creativity of others, as we witnessed in the beautiful poems we heard. So I invite you to think about how you access your or others' creativity. And then, of course, there's the on-ramp, the pathway of nature. Just look out behind us here at the beautiful trees, and those of you at home, look out of your windows. Nature is such an important pathway to awakening joy. The vast, pure beauty of nature, in which we humans are dwarfed but can stand in awe. Gratitude and wonder for our beautiful planet and the myriad ways our earth supports, holds, and nourishes us lead to joy. I invite you to try forest bathing, or swimming in our cold ocean, or dig your feet into the sand on our beautiful beaches, or climb a mountain, or ski down it to take in the joy-giving power of nature. Or just go outside and feel your feet crunching the leaves, the autumn leaves. I invite you to consider how you like to connect with nature. Of course, for any of you who've done things for others, you also know the profound joy experienced in service, which is our next pathway. Doing something kind for someone else, helping in any way that makes a difference for another, brings gladness and a greater sense of purpose to our lives. And being on purpose in life brings joy. According to research by Maurice Okun and colleagues, volunteering, listen to this one, volunteering reduces the risk of death by 24%. Do I hear you all signing up for Chalice volunteering opportunities? So how do you share your joy with the world through service? And finally, my friends, there's love. And I don't need to explain this one. When you love or feel loved, it fills your heart with joy. The world looks brighter and more alive. The love of family, the love of friends, of community like this, the love of lovers, as well as spiritual love, or love for yourself, or even from your pets. Any kind of love opens your heart to joy. Indeed, anything that opens your heart gives you greater access to joy. So what practices do you do to open your heart to love? So those are the 6 pathways to joy. And my friends, I invite you to experiment with these on-ramps to joy every day. They're at our fingertips always. Let's see if you can remember them with me. Embodiment, presence, creativity, nature, service, and love. And you may wish to drive up at least one of these on-ramps every day, maybe even more than one. Look for them, and they will lead you on the road to joy, no matter what's going on in your life. And remember, joy isn't just an emotion, a feeling that arises with certain experiences or stimuli. Joy can be felt as an energy, a tingling, a buzzing, like an electric current in our cells. I invite you just to take a moment as we think about joy and see if you can feel that electricity of joy in your body. Because this energy, this tingling, is contagious. In fact, the other day, our Chalice Circle facilitators were sharing their understandings of joy, and the longer the meeting went on, the more palpable joy became in our midst. And as we started to tap into the experience of joy, the energy in the room, in the Zoom room, shifted as more and more of us began to feel that sense of enlivening in our beings. And by the end of our meeting, we all seem to have been infected by joy, right? Am I right, Chalice Circle facilitators, those of you who were there? So my friends, focusing on joy, turning our attention to how joy manifests in our lives, experiencing joy in ourselves, seems to spread joy to others. And I think that is worth cultivating in these times, isn't it? Isn't it? Oh, good, I'm glad you're still alive, because here we are in our bodies and we can make noises if we want. Oh. So just as unhappiness can spread, my friends, so can joy. So let's, during this pandemic, let's find a way of creating a contagion of joy, because someone you know might need it. The world needs it. And one of the most satisfying things that we can do in this world is be transmitters of joy. I'm reminded of the song, "This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. The world didn't give it, and the world can't take it away." And we're going to sing that song together in a moment. Opening to joy is something that we all can choose, as we heard from Joseph Campbell at the beginning. And we saw in the story earlier when he chose to eat the strawberry even in the darkest of times. It's available to us no matter how hard our lives are. And indeed, I would say it's vital for us to open to joy, especially when we're going through hard times, to counterbalance the difficulties. Remember babies, how they laugh and cry, sometimes in the same breath? So if we allow ourselves as adults, we too can access both. So, my beloveds, in closing, as we enter this holiday season, my prayer for us is that we seek every opportunity we can to open to joy. That amidst our ordinary days and struggles, we look for the hidden diamonds. That we spread joy by reminding ourselves and those around us to look for the magic, look for the twinkling lights, look for the delight in our lives and share that. My friends, let's heal our world by creating a contagion of joy. May it be so. Amen.